Okay, ladies and gents, the Funny Trucker here coming at you because my wife thinks I tell funny stories. And we're going to test this to see if you agree. If you don't, I'm sorry. But if you do, well, maybe you'll find life a little bit easier to take. Because the stories I'm going to relate to you are stories that actually happen on the road. For those of us in the trucking life and in the long haul, these are events that normally really make our days bad, but I'm going to try and put it in a spin to where it's not necessarily so bad. And plus, family life, because being a father and now a grandfather, it's amazing how much material you get from your family, especially when your kids like fall asleep in their dinner, or your wife laughs herself till she wets herself. There are times when you're on the road and you eat things that don't necessarily agree with you. And I'm going to share something with you that I like to call an ambush. And I'll finish the description a little later. But the ambush starts out basically, you stop at a little mom and pop truck stop because you're tired at the end of the day. In the old days when we used to keep paper logs and we never ran out of hours until we ran out of coffee and we needed to stop and get some sleep. Well, I was at one of these places in Michigan, and it was a little truck stop with nothing more but a dirt parking lot. It was pretty big parking lot, and I parked in the back so that you know, got to get some exercise. And there's a little mom and pop restaurant off to the side. Well, I'm parked in the back row by the reefers, and I get out of my flatbed truck, and I go walking by. Hey, how you doing? They're like, hey, and they're carrying on, and I'm okay. I'm hungry. I head off to the restaurant. I go in, I sit down, and they've got all kinds of things on the menu, and I notice overhead, meatloaf special. Well, I haven't had meatloaf in a while, and I kind of like meatloaf, so I ordered the meatloaf special. It was a good price. It was a good meal. All I could eat. And it surprisingly was very good, which is unusual for a truck stop to begin with. But I enjoyed the meal, and then as I'm coming back to the truck stop, or to the truck where it was parked, I noticed the two drivers that were there when I first started out, they were still there. Apparently they were talking about the meal they had eaten. Because as I walk up, they say, how you doing? And I said, oh, I'm fine, I'm a little stuffed, I think I'm going to go lay down, been a long day. And they said, oh, did you eat the meatloaf? Why, yes, I did. Well, let me tell you a little something about the meatloaf, the driver said. The other one piped in and said, oh, yeah, that's been their special for like 4 days now. Apparently, they had an overabundant supply of it, and they needed to offload it. Truckers are pretty good victims because they don't usually stick around long enough for the other clientele to see the results of what happens when you eat the leftovers. Usually when truck drivers get sick, they're a long ways down the road and they're kissing a guardrail going, oh my God, I hope I make it to the rest area. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. That's when you're hoping you're not a team driver and you're going, oh my God, stop the truck, let me out here, I quit. But anyway, he was telling me that they had that meatloaf special for quite a while, and I thought, well, it didn't taste like it was old or stale. And he says, oh, but wait. As soon as you get that first urge to go, you had better start walking quickly to the truck stop. And given the distance, you had better high step it. Okay, thank you for the advice. I climb into the truck. I'm thinking these guys are way out there. I'm going to get some sleep. I lay down, and as soon as my shoes came off and my head hit the pillow, I thought for sure I'd go to sleep. It's not exactly what happened. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I heard, oh, and I was like, oh, that was my stomach. Maybe that's what they were talking about the first urge. So I get my shoes on, and I start stepping out the door. And I make it about 3 or 4 steps, and the second cramp starts to hit. And then I realized I was getting ready to be ambushed. And so I start doing the whole, come on drivers, you know this one. You're driving across the parking lot. You're hoping nobody's noticing that you're going, oh, 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 and hoping that you make it to the bathroom in time. Well, to make a long story short, it was an ambush. We were hit by a butt bomb, taken in the rear, and unfortunately, Private Haynes did not survive the onslaught. I had to lay him to rest in the men's room. As I was in there, and after I had cleaned up from the grenade that had gone off, I'm washing my hands, and I hear behind me moaning and yelling and the awful stench. And I can't help but wonder, this sounds a lot like a hospital where women are giving birth, because you got men in the stalls going, oh, oh. And as I'm washing my hands are soaking wet. I couldn't resist the urge. The next time when somebody yelled out, oh, I went, congratulations, it's a boy, and ran out the door. I hope you enjoyed the story. Tune in next time.